Hello and welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today we're talking about the brand new Haley Strategic belt mounted rifle and double pistol mag pouches, and this review is going to be done in a few parts, so I'm going to go over all the different things, the stuff that I like about it, the stuff that I don't like about it. But I want to just preface this with, I'm a massive fan of Haley Strategic. I think all of the products that they've come out with so far have been excellent, and it's for that reason that I hold them to very, very high standards, because I know that they produce incredibly high quality products, and when I get something from them, I expect a very high quality product. It's a problem that they've made for themselves, but well done, Travis. You have made a very good product here, and we're going to talk about exactly why it's a good product, but also we're going to talk about a few shortcomings. So, being that this is an airsoft channel and my focus is talking about gas blowback replicas, we are going to be talking about this within the context of airsoft, and why some of the things that Travis has done don't really translate over to airsoft as well as I would have hoped. So, with all that being said, if you want a very honest review and this is your kind of thing and you're not a subscriber, then I suggest hitting that bell and subscribe up, because actually you're going to find all of this quite insightful, I think. So, first off, let's talk about the actual materials that they've used on these pouches. So this is a laminate 1000 and 500D Cordura. So these are ultra durable, and they're also very light as well. So they're not going to add much to the weight of your belt. They also, instead of using something like an additional clip system or malice clips like many other things, they actually have built-in straps. That's good for two reasons. One, you're taking away another point of wobble and a point of contact, and the second is you can get a really tight attachment. And this was one of the reasons that I wanted to pick these up, because I was fed up with belt pouches having that little bit of movement and having that little bit of wobble. And it was always especially bad with pistol pouches, because they've only got one line of molly that they're mounted to, whereas the rifles were always a bit more secure. I've always preferred to have a double pistol, because at least then you've got kind of 4 bits where it's grabbing on. Another thing that I really liked is, as you'll notice, with any kind of shooter's belt, you have this like 1/2 inch molly section, but yet all of the pouches to date have basically had 1 inch molly. So I'm really pleased to say, and you can see it on the back here, just about, they've actually done 1/2 inch slots, and what this means is you can get a really tight fit with no wibbling, no tilting or anything like that, and it's also very close to your body. So as an example, I've just got an S-tack attached on here next to it with a clip, and you can see how much further it sort of stands out. It has a lot more standoff than these. So if you're looking for something particularly low profile, then these might actually be quite good for you. But there's always a but. With the standoff actually comes some ease of mag change. So at the moment, I'm still breaking these magazine pouches in, so I can't really comment on how fast they're potentially going to be, but I can say that they hold mags deeper than the S-tacks that I'm currently using or have been using. So I've got a shorty S-tack here, and I've got the regular pistol S-tack on here as well. Now, with these, you are very much fixed with the ride height that you have. Not so on the HSP, because they've got that 1/2 inch molly. You can actually adjust these pouches up or down as you like. So that's another cool feature, and it's just more points of adjustability and more points of customization. But what I was going to say is, if you are like me and you are, you don't have a six pack and you're not super slim, then you might have a little bit of love handle or something overhanging. Now, where these actually sit on me, having a little bit of standoff isn't actually a bad thing. I actually quite like having it. I've discovered since trying these out, I actually quite like the little bit of standoff that I get from using an S-Tack. It's just a shame that it has such a crummy proprietary attachment system and that it can wobble about, all over the place. That's not good. Whereas actually this, like the belt is moving basically. Really good attachment, really secure, but I do wish that there's a couple other things about them which, I mean, as much as they are very good, they do actually hold mags slightly deeper. So I found that where I would normally be grabbing slightly lower down the mag, I'm now being forced to grab ever so slightly higher up, which isn't too much of a problem, but it is something that I'm going to have to get used to. So the main reason that I bought this rifle pouch is because I wanted to be able to run AK mags, and I must say, yep, you can do that. They go in, they click in as well. Great fitment. So yeah, I really like that. I think they've done an excellent job. It's just I will have to get used to reaching down and having less to grab onto. But at least it's always going to be in exactly the same place. It's also a bit of a shame that it's that much closer to my body, and again, that's something that I'm going to either have to lose a bit of weight or kind of train around a little bit. So another of the things that you'll notice with this is that it actually doesn't have any like snagging hazards on the front, and to me that was particularly appealing. So ever since picking up an AK, I've looked at things like the HSGI, but because of my play style, I didn't actually pick one up because I know that I would just get caught on brush as I'm trying to move through it. So I figured I don't want to do that, and I did look around for other options, but there didn't seem to be anything that was actually universal until this has come along. So there are certain things that I really like about this. I do like the fact that it can just take all my mags. I don't like the fact that I can't adjust the ride height. So I can adjust the ride height of the pouch, but it'd be really nice if I could have adjusted the height of the Kydex in the actual pouch itself. Now, there is a way, there is kind of a way around this, and that's to not run the Kydex. And you can actually undo this piece of Velcro at the back, move this strap up slightly, and that way I could get back to my slightly higher magazine position, but it would make re-indexing the magazine back into this considerably harder, because obviously the Kydex holds it open, and because this is my speed reload source, I want to be able to get mags back in here as quickly as I can get them out. Which then brings us round to the HSP ones, and that's another reason that I've left this S-Tack on here, because this is the gap that I've got to aim for when reinserting a pistol mag with my S-Tacks. These are the HSP ones. Sorry, it blew up there. So you can see we've got about half the size for us to insert our mags back into, and my love handle is going to be coming out here somewhere as well. So it has proved to be a little bit more difficult, especially to reinsert the mags, and they actually you'll also be able to see they sit slightly deeper. So if I was to insert, for example, got a Glock mag here, so I can just pop that in. So push it all the way down to the bottom, and I've got another Glock mag here. So with both of these mag pouches correctly inserted and the identical magazines in the pouches, you can see that actually I've got more to grab onto with the S-Tack, and it's actually riding ever so slightly higher up. Now, that's where this pouch is very cool, because I can increase the ride height. What I can't do is increase the amount of mag that I've got to grab. And that's where this S-Tac holds it slightly higher. And I think there could have been a small improvement that could have been made to the system. But I'm going to save all of my ideas for improvements until the end of the video. So, a lot of other people talk about noise and things like that, and how noisy it is to insert a magazine into one of these. Well, for me, I run gas blowback rifles, and being that these are my emergency reload sources, it doesn't really matter how noisy they are to insert or take the mag out. It just doesn't matter, because I'm shooting quite a loud gun anyway. People tend to know where I am, so I'm not actually worried. But compared to my S-Tacs, certainly the rifle is slightly louder. The pistols are on par. But don't forget, we have... these are going to break in, and for airsoft mags, these are going to be basically friction fit. So you've got inside these pistol pouches, you've got a micro dot on each side, and you've also got a rare earth magnet. Now, for airsoft, that rare earth magnet is not going to matter, because all of the magazines that you use are probably going to be die-cast, zinc, or alloy. So they're not going to be magnetic, basically. So the rare earth magnet kind of isn't that useful for airsoft. But it is nice that it's in there, because some of the submachine gun magazines can be steel. Like if you've got an MP5, then you may have some steel magazines. So there may be some use for it there. And what I'll do is I'll save it for another video, and I'll go through and I'll test these and see what airsoft mags can actually fit in these particular pouches. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was, because we're not really too worried about the noise, is actually the weight. And just to say that they're very, very lightweight, similar to my Shorty S-Tacs. So there's no significant weight increase. The fact that they've used laser cut and laminated rather than stitching and sewing means that actually they have created a slightly lighter product, but it's equally, if not more durable. So now we should talk about probably the most important thing when it comes to any magazine pouch, and that is the retention and how well it can hold those magazines in. Now, these are excellent at retaining magazines from what I can tell. I've actually never lost a magazine using my S-Tacs, and I've been running them for about 4 years. So I certainly wouldn't expect to lose any magazines when running these particular magazine pouches. Certainly I know that the pistol one both of these pistol ones are going to break in, and so is the rifle. So as far as talking about that too much, all I want to say is that at the moment the retention is very good, possibly too good, but I know that these are going to break in, so I'm going to reserve judgment, and I will do a future video where I can talk about how good these have been more long term. That pretty much brings us to the final part, which is improvement ideas, and a couple of things that I think HSP could do to really make this product incredible. And this is the part where I'm going to be slightly more critical. So bear in mind, I'm being critical because I hold them in such high regard. That's the reason that I want to say this next part. So the first couple of things that I want to talk about are actually with regard to the double pistol pouch. Now, I understand that I could have bought 2 singles and attached them, and that way I would have got a gap. Actually, as it stands, if I put both of these in, and it's actually the same on my waist as well, the magazines actually sit a little bit too close together for me. I'd rather if they had made this pouch and they maybe built in a ½ centimetre or centimetre or so gap in there, just to separate the double mag pouch. I don't now want to have to go and buy 2 single mag pouches just to get that gap. So that's something where I think maybe they could have done a little bit better, or at least given us the option, because S-Tac have double pistol with and without gap, and with the gap is much better. Without a gap is a bit. It can make it more difficult, and especially because the magazines sit that much deeper into these pouches as well, which brings me to my second point. Now, where these attach underneath at the back, because this doesn't have Kydex in, it means that could potentially be velcroed up in here, and if you could reduce the size of this loop, like that for example, you could then choose to have your magazines riding either higher or lower within the magazine pouch itself. So if you're going to be using shorter mags, it's going to be a little bit easier to get hold of them. You're going to have more to grab. I don't think you should have to have base plates on your magazines just to be able to grab them out of your pouch. And with this, they do sit a bit deeper than with the S-Tac, and so yeah, it is going to be a bit harder to get them. Also, the lips of the magazine can actually slip out. So I'll show you what I mean. Like this. So now it's sitting even deeper in the pouch, and it's, you know, ultimately it's retained even better, so that's a good thing. But I'm gonna struggle to get a high grip so I want to be here when I pull my magazine out of the pouch. I'm actually going to be down here somewhere, so that's going to make inserting the next magazine a little bit more difficult. The next thing I wanted to talk about was actually with regard to the openings that we've got here. So as you can see, I mean, this was a bit disappointing as well, seeing already some threadbare and some bits kind of peeling up a little bit on the inside. You can see some threads on the inside here that are all kind of coming apart. We'll see how it holds up. But actually, it would have been nice if these were held open, so maybe it could have been a bit of metal or a ring, but they could actually break in. So I don't think they're ever going to get to the point that, like the S-Tac here, but I think actually in time, as this woven elastic, not knitted, woven elastic, as it stretches, hopefully it's going to hold its form and stay open a little bit more, and make reinserting or re-indexing those magazines into this pouch just that little bit easier. Because at the moment, you know, it's not really a comparison. But you can see already, you know, where I've stretched it and stuff. It's but it can't really compete with this S-Tac at the moment. The last thing that I'm going to say with regard to this rifle pouch, other than the fact that, you know, I really like this, I think it's really good. What would have been really, again, cool to see, I love the fact that I can change the ride height of the pouch on the belt, but it would have been really nice because we've almost got the compatibility to change the ride height inside the pouch as well. Now, all they would have had to do is have a slightly shorter Kydex insert, and where the two ears of the Kydex insert here, put two more slightly lower down, or have a couple of different gradients, or have some laser cuts in there, so that you could basically insert a slightly shorter Kydex, tighten this up, and have your magazine riding either slightly higher in the pouch or lower in the pouch. And you could also adjust the height on the belt. So I might see if I can, you know, jerry rig something myself in order to do that. But yeah, this has been my kind of first look, and there is going to be more information about these magazine pouches coming out on my channel. So if you're interested, subscribe, stay tuned, and yeah, there's going to be more to come of me using these, how they break in over time, and yeah, let's test the hell out of them. So right, if you're stuck on this long, thank you so much, and you know, I'll see you on the next video. Take care.